that's what everybody does. All right. I'm going to look. Okay. Well,
I'm so prepared. The other day, and he was like, so I had to brush. Oh, you brought it? Oh. Yes, it's right now. Hey, this is my final time commentating, so this is I gotta stay prepared. I know. These are my parents who were here. Nice to meet you all.
I guess I've seen some of your work on MKA TV.
I suppose, yeah.
If it involves the granddaughters, I've seen it. Oh my gosh.
Testing, testing. Well, welcome everybody to Van Brunt Field, the site here today of girls lacrosse action. Into the quarterfinals we go. of the New Jersey non-public B state bracket. The business end of the season, as any coach would point towards, and so it is MKA taking on the Crimson of Morristown-Beard, laying hosts to the Morristown foes. MKA with their sights for state tournament glory as we're underway here at the upper school. And immediately it is off to a rambunctious MKA possession in their initiatives to go ahead and draw first blood. Heading off towards the left wing of the field with Leinhart, the senior captain herself, lending it to a teammate as of right now. And MKA certainly lending some patience on the offense, trying to dictate the tempo of the early moments of the matchup. It's really not pressuring themselves. Here's Sienna Davis. Aaron Curran. Curran closing in. That one, just a half-baked opportunity. And Maddie Plansky, a little bit unfortunate, but here's Leinhart. Subi saved by the keeper. Well, it's a brilliant save from Morristown-Beard in order to initiate the clean sheet in the opening minutes of the affair. Will there be room for the response in the process? Looks to be room for a Crimson first possession of this quarterfinal round of the non-public B bracket. So it is the 2-seeded Cougars at the moment laying host to the 7th-seeded Crimson. MKA with an emphatic 15-3 victory over Morristown Friends in the initial round of action in the state tournament. And so now finding themselves with a bit more difficult competition, at least in light of the seeding. And so that will play right there. A flurry of crimson and white trying to get open, that of the former, but ultimately that fateful pass from the goalie sends it yet again in MKA hands. And so we'll see what the Cougars can improvise here. The opportunity to draw first blood and quite the pivotal quarterfinal matchup. They already found Prep's glory. They won their Prep E tournament. Can they get some more silverware to mark out a good season? However, that penalty in the process, entreated against Shea Murphy, the freshman. And now prime opportunity for the Cougars to get on the early lead here at Van Brunt. Here we go. Murphy darting forward, able to find the back of the net. And the freshman draws first blood for MKA. Simply superb right there. Excellent composure posed by the underclassmen. Simply mad dashed her way over to a closer angle, and from right there found the ricochet off the AstroTurf, and innocently enough rolling on into the back of the net. And just like that, MKA takes hold of the early lead. Just what the doctor ordered for the Cougars. Now the task at hand, of course, for the hosting side is to continue such. They have entered this matchup, at least I would argue, as the favorites, a matter of 2 versus 7th seed. And so we'll see if MKA's fortunes can only populate further. Meanwhile, Morristown-Beard, they have yet to say very much while they're grabbing the ball. I don't believe they were able to have completed a single pass. I know the goalie started out what could have been a promising opportunity. Before that was whitewashed away, courtesy of some valiant MKA defending, but at long last, the opportunity for Mo Beard heading on to the attack for the first time today. Will there be room for the equalizer as Morristown-Beard circulates the ball a little bit? That one, however, ultimately takes the chop, but it will, in fact, be concession of the penalty. So back and forth penalty action between the two sides, and now the opportunity to accrue the equalizer for the visiting Crimson. A straight line to the goal, firing through and able to be saved by Orly Sadrant. Absolutely omnipotent goalkeeping. Now will there be room for the counterattack? MKA darting away on the other half. The through ball unable to find the likes of a teammate. And now Ethan joining us here. And so back out for Morristown-Beard, still finding themselves in the deficit position. And so we do have Ethan Potash joining us here in the broadcast booth. And so I'm lucky to have a co-commentator here. Meanwhile, back out on the field, it is yet again Morristown-Beard's goalie, trying to divvy things up to spark life into some element of an attack to inspire the equalizer. That one, a deeply lofted ball, straight to the attacking third. Only able to be intercepted completely by Caroline Murphy, the senior captain, showing defensive valiance, now heading the other direction, finding it to her sister.
Am I muted, Nick? Nick, you got me.
No, I got you.
All right. How's the first 5 minutes gone, Nick? I see it's already 1-0.
First 5 minutes certainly has been Cougar domination. Already found the go-ahead goal to give themselves that leading position, but in terms of possession and opportunities, it's been amazing as Erin Curran, just like that, evidencing my words, able to make it 2 for MKA. Simply superb right there from the junior, showing how she earns her bread and butter. And just like that, it's a doubling of the lead for the hosting Cougar side here. And from a matter of bad to worse for Morristown-Beard, unable to stabilize very elementary levels of possession. That's for sure. Two situations right there. You had the goalie looking to get out her first outfield option, and Morristown-Beard trying to mobilize their troops in order to find the other end of that pass, but in 2 straight instances, the keeper gave it away on behalf of Morristown-Beard. And so just like that, MK, you might just well sense feeding off of the Crimson's mistakes, but they won't care how they accrue these goals as long as they are residing, as of right now, in pole position. Only 1 shot as a response from the Crimson, and that one, a fateful penalty that was easily enough dealt with by Orly Sidransk, the keeper. And so just like that, back out underway here at Van Brunt Field, 2-0. The Cougars with a stronghold in the opening minutes of this quarterfinal matchup. But here comes the Crimson. What can be said from their vantage point? Trying to navigate through a sea of white as of right now in their attempts to at least have the deficit they find themselves in. Unable to beat the better of Maggie Murphy, however, on the defense, and easily enough collected by Sidransk. Simply brilliant. Some room for seconds, but just like that, it's Curran off to the races down the left wing. Has some options around her, trying to navigate into the midfield. Will accept the penalty in the process. And so, firm 2-0 hold as the matchup works underway here in the quarterfinal matchup of the non-public B bracket. What a service 3 could do, however, Caroline Murphy unable to find it.
Caroline Murphy fresh off her 100th point, that is, coming in that last game.
Unbelievable. So Murphy with quite the experience tenure for MKA, certainly a presence that will be missed as Lionheart unable to snip together the near post right there between the left post and the keeper. Ultimately yet out again for a Crimson Scion possession. And so Ethan, 100 points for Caroline Murphy. True lacrosse omnipotence from the senior. And certainly looking back at 4 amazing years of service for the lacrosse program.
Because the first year.
Oh, that's right. Making the feat all the more incredible too. Her freshman year canceled because of COVID, so handicapped in 75% of the time as anyone else would normally do such, able to accrue 100 points. That truly is something else. And so Murphy and her side, however, perhaps no better way to cap off your senior year than 2 elements of silverware in your season. They've already claimed Prep B. Can they claim non-public B glory as well? They certainly are candidates for such, the 2 seed in this bracket. Meanwhile, Morristown-Beard, the 7th seed. So the opportunity in the offing, but here comes the Crimson, trying to close through the distance between them and the goal, but excellently composed MKA defense to keep them at bay as of right now. Yet again forced to relent outwards here. Room for the shot. That one will be the first for Morristown-Beard. And at long last, it's the goal about 8 minutes in the offing for the visiting side. Able to have their deficit, and MKA will be forced to let one up.
And I have to wonder if maybe there's Sidransk's view was obstructed, because that's an uncharacteristic goal for her to give up. Real solid goalie. I'm sure she wants that one back.
Very unfortunate from Sidransk's vantage point, but of course the pen commit herself certainly is one of the most talented lacrosse goalies out there in the state of New Jersey, and so even if there goes to show anything on that play, it's that even the most experienced of keepers can perhaps let up the rather unfortunate play or two, and that is even presupposing if that goal was her fault in the first place.
Yeah, I have to wonder if maybe she picked it up late.
Beard again off to the races here with renewed sights for the equalizer. The point-blank range, and it is to the back of the net. One goal after another for Morristown-Beard, and parity restored at Van Brunt Field. An incredible reversal of the tide in a matter of seconds in front of a stunned home crowd. At one point, an omnipotent 2-0 scoreline, but back-to-back sprint. The once momentous MKA lead.
Yeah, Nick, here again we see the importance of faith.
And so MKA, perhaps by virtue of losing in such an important element of the game of lacrosse, by extension, losing over the last few seconds. I believe that was a matter of 20 seconds and 2 goals for Morristown-Beard. A game of quite quick spurts, that of lacrosse, but nonetheless, Morristown-Beard all of a sudden finding themselves with quite the momentum as they yet again find themselves at the helm of the ball. Well, they've already completed 2, Ethan. You just may well sense if they're hungry enough to go ahead and find that third. Trying to navigate through several MKA midfielders. Swatted away at, but still withstanding. Able to draw
stick to the face on MKA here. I don't know if that's the official name of the penalty, but that's what it looked like.
Indeed, probably not too far off anyways, but of course, especially in the girls' iteration of lacrosse where there are no helmets, certainly a flagrant call. As yet again, Morristown-Beard tries to drive forward. That one right there, a valiant defensive stance from Ava Moore. And the junior holds firm for MKA, trying to preserve the equal tally. As I lose sight of the ball there for a second, now heading down the right wing with Polanski. MKA perhaps as vicious as ever to restore their once glorious lead. Brannigan over to Davis. Finds a Murphy, finds another Murphy. Shea Murphy on it. Allowing much patience in this possessive style of attack, and certainly is characteristic of MKA's style of play. You saw Morristown-Beard with a bit more pep in their step when they were attacking on the other end of the pitch.
Yeah, Cougars being super methodical right now, not just running in, taking the first shot they get. They're trying to get the best shot they can get right now.
And it may just well be paying dividends for them. Here comes the senior Davis. Unable to get the needed daylight. Maggie Murphy on it. Murphy dances around once more to Davis. No room for the shot just yet. Now across the X. Leinhardt on it. She'll be contemplating her options. The senior, unable to head to that positive angle. Forced at bay as of right now. Here's here in this quarterfinal matchup, and Morristown-Beard with quite the response to back-to-back goals from MKA. Now here comes Curran to yet again get the lead. Down she goes.
No whistle either.
Wow, a truly bizarre lack of call right there.
That was a physical play, and Curran is down.
Well, at long last, it does look like she'll be entreated to a penalty call. A bit too late, you may sense. Really did look flagrant, at least from our vantage point. And so, as the dust settles, could be room for an MKA opportunity to restore their leading position.
Yeah, I was saying, this wasn't here 2 days ago either. I don't know what happened to it. That's not a small net. I am muted, right? Yeah. That's not a small net.
And so after the stoppage in play, it will not be a penalty. Instead, Davis forced to resume possession more further out. Nonetheless, the opportunity still withstanding for the Cougars. After bleeding up 2 straight to restore equality on the scoreline, can they yet again sniff that leading position?
I took all the senior things down.
Davis over to Murphy here, the freshman trying to navigate through. Unable to find a teammate, instead finds her twin sister. Now here's Shea Murphy, still on the precipice of opportunity. MKA chewing away at a steady, compact Beard defense. Will it be enough to break the deadlock on the scoreline and out on the field? MKA trying to chew away at potential options here, trying to encroach forward. Here's Murphy, temporarily dispossessed.
And this game is already a lot more competitive than the last girls lacrosse game. It was already 10-0 by this point in the last game.
10-0. Oof, Maron. Meanwhile, Cameron Leinhart off to Sienna Davis. Working away. The ball rotating around the goal time and time again. You just may well wonder at what end will MKA finally be forced to put up a shot. Could be here. Murphy heading forward, room for the shot, and finds it. And make it 3 for MKA. Their leading position once more restored on the scoreline. And back to winning ways for the Cougars.
Yeah, Cougars are playing a real possession game right now. A lot of passing around, a lot of cutting, a lot of looking for the right shot, and they found it right there.
And a perfect play right there from the freshman to cap off a minutes-long possession, occupying Beard's third of the pitch time and time again. Just excellently, patiently passing the ball, spreading the love and everything, and at long last, the freshman had the tenacity and courage to go ahead for it.
Yeah, it's a real interesting contrast game that they're playing right now.
Perhaps you may sense the respecting Beard, that's for sure. Of course, Morristown Friends, the 15th seed, now playing Beard in the quarters. They are the 7th seed, and so you may well sense they're respecting the tenure and talent of their opponents and thus trying to adopt their tactics accordingly. But here comes Beard after absorbing a hit to what looks to be the mouth right there. That one's got to hurt.
Yeah, you saw the player grab her mouth immediately.
So just like that, possession restored for Beard. Will there be the equalizer? Not quite. Beautifully saved by Sidranstrom for a second. Still can't find it. 2 back-to-back shots, what just could have guaranteed equality.
Yeah, that girl's going to be seeing that in her nightmares. A wide-open net and just sent it wide.
The first one, of course, met with a valiant goalkeeping stance from Sidranstrom, but that second one, you may have sensed, that was an open net. So now here comes more. Over to Davis, contemplating options, Shea Brannigan. Working across the attacking third here, MKA, as we were just talking about before. Look at this patient, possession-based approach of attacking lacrosse has paid dividends for them thus far. 3 goals already found. Could there be a 4th in the offing to re-extend the tally back to 2? Murphy over to her senior teammate Davis. Brannigan. And you really must respect it, just not forcing it by any stretch of the imagination. Pass after pass. Full confidence over the ball. As here comes Murphy, trying to head in, pushed outwards. MKA, of course, with that leading position, they will be content with merely retaining possession, firmly away from the stick's grasp of a Crimson defender.
Yeah, time is certainly not an issue right now, and there's no shot clock, obviously.
As MKA yet again resorting to their methodical build-up. You may well sense when they'll snap, when the gears will start to grind, as you saw right there in the third goal. Murphy all of a sudden accepting the one-on-one play, and the freshman coming up victorious in that initiative. Still spreading the love as of right now. Patient ways, but here could be the break in the deadlock. Murphy trying to head forward, back out to Davis. Hesitating ever so slightly.
I believe we're coming up on 2 minutes straight of possession right now for the Cougars.
Truly unbelievable. Quite the radical initiative, for at least introduction to lacrosse attacking for MKA. My guess would be most other teams would not exercise an offensive tempo as possessive and as laid back as MKA is right here.
Nick, does this, oh, wait a second.
He's got it. And that one right there from Murphy, able to make it 4 for MKA. Re-extending the lead back to 2 goals. The Cougars full steam ahead in this quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, so Nick, what I was going to say is, do you see any similarities between the type of offense Cougars are running right now and maybe a type of soccer offense, a lot of passing around, trying to get the open look, trying to get the perfect pass maybe?
Oh, of course, it's tiki-taka. That's at least how we call it over in the realm of soccer. That type of soccer playing, that type of footballing, as I would rather like to call it, perfected by FC Barcelona back in their glory days. And so essentially, it is that idea of spreading the love, of making the opposition wear down, get tired, chasing the ball simply through very slow, intricate, methodical passes, one after another, never letting the ball rest with a teammate for quite too long, always making sure that the ball is moving around the pitch and never forcing the shot. That is the key thing. Always exercising patience no matter what. That was the tiki-taka style of footballing that FC Barcelona came to specialize, so credit where it's due, even coming from a Real fan. But back out here, the girls lacrosse team.
The Benzema news?
Benzema news, we won't talk about it. How about that? We won't talk about it. And so back out underway here for the Crimson, the opportunity to at least knock one back. It is their second penalty of the matchup. They missed the first. Can they find redemption to have the deficit yet again, closing in, able to find it? And Crimson strike yet again for Mo Beard's tally to make it 4-3. Back and forth lacrosse action here at Van Brunt Field. Quite the treat we have in store. And so that one right there, you may sense it is a penalty after all. What more can you do? Simply straight line to Sadransk's occupying net. And right there, obviously she cannot cover every single stretch of the goal, especially from a rather point-blank range opportunity. And just like that, one more accrued for the visiting Crimson to make it all the more interesting, 4-3.
Yeah, it's a real interesting part of the girls lacrosse game, because I don't believe in the boys lacrosse game they have those penalty shots.
No, they don't. And so
real
yeah.
way that differentiates the two. And I think I like it. You know, like if
I do too.
It's,
I mean,
it's like you commit a foul in the the box?
In the penalty box of soccer. Of course, my soccer-inclined self, I would be favored towards what they have in girls lacrosse. Same thing with the sense of timing too. I know in boys lacrosse they have 4 quarters. In girls lacrosse it is simply 2 halves, and of course soccer is also a game of 2 halves too. So something I'll also be relatively biased towards. But it is interesting to see between the timing, the rule set, of course the equipment out on the field, just how different the game of girls lacrosse can manifest itself.
You see, even the sticks that they use, the girls' game has a lot less net to catch the ball with, for lack of a better term.
That's true. You may well sense if it's just all the more harder for the girls to play the sport as a result of that technical difficulties. Now here comes Mo Beard with their search for the equalizer, able to evade the ricochet from Orly Sadransk, and the keeper coming up absolutely clutch for MKA. Danger's not over, however. Crimson trying to hack away at the hole they find themselves in before a stoppage in play ceases any movement from the respective sides. Well, when all is said or done, the novice within me, the lacrosse novice within me showing, not quite sure what the call was in that front. Yet again, a re-extension of Crimson possession, chewing away at the final 10 minutes of the first half. No real estate to be afforded on the attack. Now trying to head across that one. Pushed down in the box, and yet again, it'll be a penalty.
Yeah, real physical play right there. A bit of a late call, but I think certainly the right call.
Absolutely, and on that penalty right there, the opportunity for Mo Beard to again resort to, I would argue, their most efficient method of offense, and that is simply profiting off the Cougars' defensive mistakes right there. Now a flagrant opportunity you may sense for the equalizer.
This one's a bit more off angle, but still a prime shooting position.
Heading inward, instead opts back out to find a teammate. Perhaps a tactical decision, or perhaps an improvised last-minute decision to retreat out of the one-on-one initiative. But of course, as you were just saying, Ethan, certainly might have not been thinking about such an opportunity had she been faced dead on straight from that center area. So now here comes MKA, profiting off of Beard's mistakes. Still holding on to a razor-thin margin of a lead as of right now.
You know, something I've noticed about Sadransk watching these girls lacrosse games is how pinpoint accurate her passes are from the goalkeeper position. She really starts the breakout attack really nicely for the Cougars, almost like a point guard.
I see. Or a quarterback by extension, you could say, in light of how deeply lofted some of her passes could be.
And we watch some of these other goalies, and their passes just aren't as accurate, and teams have to retreat and catch passes off bounces. And like even the ones that are bouncing here, they're right to the target. It's just they're not catching it.
Absolutely, and we aren't to name names or anything at MKTV, but certainly Morristown-Beard trying to resort to at least a somewhat similar style of offensive inroads, trying to start out play with the keeper, but relative disparities of success on that front between the two sides right here. And MKA currently holding firm, already with a 1-goal lead. Curran heading inward. And yet again, the Morristown-Beard keeper coming up to the rescue for the visiting Crimson to keep the deficit at bay as of right now. And so it's a brilliant goal line stance from Morristown-Beard. Can they back it up with what could be an equalizer? They've had the opportunity before, yet again. Going to great strides to defend the tally to what it is right now. Scramble for it in the middle, and it's finding itself straight back in MKA's direction. Well, they'll definitely prosper off of that one. Straight off to the attack. Here comes Murphy. She's still trying to head inwards and unable to find the back of the net right there. You may have sensed a flagrant opportunity.
Yeah, that was a real nice move to get around the defender from Goldstein. You heard a little audible like "oh" in the crowd.
And as close as they come, you may sense for MKA, really could have been quite the momentous opportunity for Goldstein to secure a 5th for her home side. Unsuccessful, and she'll have to wait just a bit longer. And so, still nagging away at that 1-goal separation between these two sides. Quite the even matchup over this first half. I know the last time these two sides faced each other, it was earlier on in the season. MKA won 15-6. So quite the emphatic margin of victory.
Were we on that game, Nick?
I'm not sure if we were.
Was that
we
a home
could have
game?
been, actually. Might have been a home game.
Yeah, I feel like I remember that game.
Well, regardless, 15-6. Quite the far cry from at least what you're seeing right now, based on the first half's occurrence, 4-3. Quite the razor-thin margin to separate these two sides. And yet again, Morristown-Beard knocking at MKA's door. You just may sense a matter of time before they can get that glimpse. Down goes the attacker, and the foul in the process. And hovering away with just about 5 minutes left to go at this first half, back and forth. Lacrosse action, and a game of sweeping tides too. I would add, to remind you, it was 2 straight goals for MKA to start off the game, 2 more as a response from Beard to make it 2-2, then 2 straight more from MKA to make it 4-2, and now Beard. They secured a 3rd. The opportunity could be at the helm to yet again restore parity on the scoreline. Beard too, you may wonder, also exercising some patience and some passing initiative on their attacking tempo. When will the daylight be afforded for the shot? Here it could be. Ultimately swatted away.
Flag went up though, so it's gonna be another penalty shot.
And it's just penalty after a penalty. You may sense.
Have the Cougars had one yet?
They've had a 1. That was how they accrued the opening goal.
So that was before
Shea Murphy able to score. But yet again, you may well sense shooting themselves in the foot on the defense. The opportunity for the 4th for the Crimson, saved by Orly Sadransk. It's one brilliant save after another from the junior. Now, could there be room for the counterattack to add insult to injury for the Crimson?
A lot of space here for Murphy to work with.
Now, here's Brannigan. Yielded away momentarily. Maggie Murphy into the box. Goldstein with a shot. And for a second, I really thought that one was going to go in.
From our angle, it did look like that.
And so Eddie Goldstein, the freshman, yet again, a bit disappointed to not score from that front. And for a second, I swear, it looked like it was going across the net right there. I don't know if there was like a hole in the net or something. I do have some stories of holes in the net in the game of soccer. One funny moment that I love to point to was when Montclair was playing Livingston in boys soccer. This was in the Essex County
Is
tournament.
this one of your NFHS games, Nick?
It was not. No, I just heard about it. And so
This year?
yeah, this was this year. So MKA, they were down Montclair, they were down 1-0 in that game. As MKA continues to chew forward here, unsuccessful. Okay, so MHS, they were down 1-0 in that boys soccer game in the Essex County tournament. The most important, I would argue, the most valuable piece of silverware of the season. And so they did score the equalizer, but it went through a hole in the top left of the net and went away. So it created the illusion as if it had never went into the net, even though it flagrantly did. But the referee, he judged that goal to have actually just been a shot that completely went off target when it actually was the equalizer for Montclair. So Livingston ended up winning that game, even though it quite should have been anything but. However, we'll be glad as MKA people that MHS did not win that one. So meanwhile, back out on the field, it's a terrific, tenacious play by Maddie Polanski to reinstate possession for the Cougars.
It was actually Sienna Davis who knocked it out of the stick of the defender, and Polanski picked it up.
Excellent tag team between the junior and the senior. Can they capitalize off the renewed possession? Still only one goal to separate these two sides under the 2-minute warning in this first half of action in the non-public B quarterfinal round, where seemingly so much is at stake between the two sides. MKA holding firm as of right now, but certainly a goal or two before the break could do them much more service on that front. Here comes Aaron Curran, down to under 90 seconds to spare. Here at Van Brunt Field, the junior letting time to wash ever so slightly. And if you just look at the many options to the right of the goal, trying to chew away, trying to find some daylight, and now the double team implemented against the junior.
So someone's going to be open. There's two.
Well, perhaps the double team getting a little too excited. That is a downside of the double team, not only leading someone open, but increasing the probability of a collision. Well, nonetheless, Shea Brannigan right there absorbs quite the heavy bit of contact. No call, however, emanating from the referee, and we're down to less than 50 seconds to spare. Morristown-Beard trying to scramble to salvage possession.
And a real blunder there from the Crimson, as they were trying to run down that ball. Oh, the ref is gonna correct himself rather. He originally said it went out of bounds after the bobble, but he changed his mind.
Well, something to make the coach mad, that's for sure, but Beard with one more chance before the break. Seconds to spare, trying to scramble away, but it's a brilliant defensive stance for the Cougars.
We'll see if the Drance holds it here or if she opts to try to launch one forward for one last attack with 8 seconds left.
One final Hail Mary for MKA.
And it's going to bounce to Murphy's.
And so as the ball innocently rests to the ground, that will do it for the first half of action here at Van Brunt Field. A razor-thin, close game we have in store. 4-3 in the quarterfinal round of the New Jersey non-public B state tournament. So do not go anywhere.
Boys, one of the last games, eh? How you guys feeling? Did your last game? Oh, brutal.
I know.
It's been a great 4 years.
It was a good. It has been, right?
Good run. Good run.
A lot of memories, exactly.
Did a great job too. Thank you for that.
And then you're not with you. You're like in the behind of the water. I mean, that's so huge. Was it like 60 people in 60? Or something here. Like, I don't know. I know there are. And you know, she said in the high top. Yeah. You can't put them right here. You wait until like you walk in now. And that's what they'll But then they put you in the main dining.
Yeah, we asked them.
Oh, so I like sitting in the high top. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get that. Right.
Oh, well.
I like shit around. Oh, it's so good. It's kind of off.
What's that place called? Rock?
Yeah.
It's like, when you drive, oh yeah, you know, it's like, I didn't think it was just like, we took our boat. No, we took our boat.
Their shipwreck is good.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of action here in the quarterfinal matchup of the New Jersey Non-Public B State Tournament. MKA, the 2 seed, holding a small but mighty 4-3 lead over the visiting Crimson of Morristown-Beard. They are the 7th seed, and so reflecting upon the first half's duration, Ethan, what are your assessments on the Cougars' performance?
Well, it's just a game of runs. We saw the 2 quick goals in the first 5 minutes by the Cougars, and then we saw 2 goals in like 15 seconds by the Crimson, and then another 2 quick goals by the Cougars. So it's just who can get hot at the right time is all it is.
A game of changing tides over the first 25 minutes, and so we'll see where the current picks up as Curran grabs the ball. You like that? Okay. So it is the junior, Aaron Curran, of course, the Davidson commit, who no longer has the ball, as I lose track of that through the camera, and so MKA trying to chew away at the currently razor-thin 1-goal separation between these two teams' tallies. The opportunity to yet again re-extend it to 2 goals here, trying to loop it around. Murphy unable to find it, and defensive valiance from Beard's goalie on full display.
And Beard's goalie had a really good first half, some point-blank saves, and another really like robbery there. That probably should have been a goal.
I would say an early candidate for Beard's MVP of the matchup, as it's once more the Crimson trying to embark on their sights for an equalizer. They did have a number of opportunities to strike for in the final moments of the first half, but as it stands, still trying to nag away, but it's a brilliant interception made by Orly Sadransk. Sadransk still chewing away at it, but the thunderous presence of the goalie working true magic for MKA.
Crimson really applying like a full field press right now. Just sending 2 players on the ball wherever it is, and if the Cougars have it in their own half of the field.
An audacious style of attack, or at least, defense, but
worked for them. They got the ball back.
Certainly have capitalized off it. Can it translate into that much to be desired 4th goal? Yeah, again, however, Orly Sadransk, truly something else, and stepping up to the presence time and time again on behalf of her Cougars. And yet again, straight off to the races into the attacking third. Aaron Curran closing in, room for the shot, not to be found. And yet again, an amazing deflection warranted by the Beard keeper. Once more with the Crimson, and it's back and forth sprints between the respective sides. Counterattack after counterattack.
Yeah, we got a track meet going on right now.
Who will emerge victorious from this standoff? Some daylight to be afforded for Beard. Yet again, however, 1 interception after another from Sadransk, but she absorbs quite the heavy hit from the attacker. And thank God that she's at least wearing a helmet. And yet again, Goldstein also going down on the front. This is quite aggressive defensive tempo, I would say, put together by Morristown-Beard. They were able to see through another possession, but in tolling some casualties in the process, and airing some controversy too, I might add, from the home crowd here. So Beard, they were able to profit off their high-pressing defensive scheme, but in the process, they've absorbed some heavy hits against the Cougars, still emerging with the ball as of right now. And so here comes Murphy. Murphy encountering a wall of Crimson, and she does look to be destined to absorb the penalty, the opportunity for MKA to strike 5th in this quarterfinal matchup.
Nick, this has been a real physical game, probably the most physical girls lacrosse game that I've seen this year, at least in the games I've done.
Such a gritty matchup, but to show for it, it is Murphy, able to break the second half deadlock and to send it to 5 for MKA. Back on top with that 2-goal cushion. Never a doubt about it. The Cougars still again with the lead. And that front right there, excellent enough for Maggie Murphy to absorb the hit right there to stay on her feet. And now the opportunity, at least before, to find that second goal cushion just a matter of feet away, and she was easily enough able to execute such. Standing up to pressure when the moments call in this business end of the season, in this quarterfinal matchup, where seemingly every last shot of the ball could matter more and more. That will go a long way in seemingly breaking the Beard momentum and sending it back to 5-3 for MKA. So still a re-extension of that large lead that we found twice before in the first half. Will the Crimson once more be up to the challenge to voicing their concerns? Heading off into the attacking third, excellent compact defending from MKA. Trying to navigate through the many white defenders. Room for the final ball, however, ultimately dealt with. And it's a brilliant interception from Shea Murphy. And so the freshman working wonders for MKA. Meanwhile, in the other direction, will they be able to piece together the counterattack? That's a brilliant receipt of the ball from Sienna Davis. But just like that, heading in the other direction for Beard. Much of the same in the second half as we saw in the first half. Really that of back and forth lacrosse action, a track meet, as you described it, Ethan, earlier on in the second half's duration. And seemingly counterattacks to counterattacks on end. Will Beard be up to the challenge, however? Yet again, able to absorb a shot to Dransk, but not before conceding the penalty in the process.
Yeah, I saw that one from up here. It was a bit of like a cross-check to the shoulder area.
And so we also saw before in the first half, MKA, at least at times, needlessly conceding the penalty. Fortunate that Beard has not been able to make more productive use of them. Can they make it otherwise here? Trying to close in yet again, swatted away by Erin Curran, but her challenge in turn will also be deemed a penalty.
I don't know if I agree with that one. It looked like just stick on stick.
And so a lucky break to offer respite for Morristown-Beard. Can they find success this time around?
About as straight on as you can possibly get.
And their opportunity to find a fourth to have their deficit. Here comes the Crimson, yet again deflected. And it's one penalty after another where MKA reigns supreme.
There was barely any contact there. I'm really not sure what that call is about.
There was a third, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I didn't even see that one. Just like that, the third straight opportunity for Beard to accrue their fourth in a matter of a minute. That one also to be deflected. The referee will decide to hold pause on a fourth penalty call for crying out loud. Yet again, could be a second opportunity for the Crimson. 3 straight opportunities squandered to convert from the penalty. And yet again, make it a fourth. It's simply one after another from the officiating team, and it's drawing in quite the controversy here at Van Brunt Field. In a matter of 1 minute, it is the 4th penalty call for Morristown-Beard. They have yet to convert. Heading inward, that time around, they're finally able to get it. And perhaps 4th time is the charm for Morristown-Beard. At long last, they're able to have their deficit yet again. And it's the opportunity that's been relatively staring them down in the face for quite some time. But at long last, from the Crimson's vantage point, able to find that 4th. So yet again, to a slight separation between these two teams as we chew away at a little under 20 remaining minutes in this quarterfinal matchup. And certainly a game where every throw of the ball, every hit of the stick matters all the more as the game progresses. And so reconvening at the center crest, the score 5-4, Morristown-Beard time and time again. They found themselves under the receiving end of an onslaught of goals, but they found the response once more. Still with some work to be done in order to equalize once more. But yet again, it will be the Crimson emerging victorious off the face-off and finding some refuge in the referee's calls as well, and certainly stirring some controversy amidst the home crowd right here. 4 penalty calls in 1 minute for Morristown-Beard. I know we were talking about how MKA's been committing some unlucky mistakes on the defensive end of the game, but
there's
4 in a row
one right there.
Sounds excessive. As the defensive double team between Polanski and Brannigan
these officials are really not letting anything go. They're calling it super tight.
And it's working all the wonders for Morristown-Beard as yet again they will emerge free after the stoppage in play. Finding much aid from the referee's decision-making at this point.
Yeah, I can't remember a stretch like this at any point in any game that I have covered this year where it's just penalty after penalty after penalty.
Truly bizarre. And in a matchup where it matters all the more, we'll see if they can convert, and they've got it. A penalty for Morristown-Beard, make it 5 in about 2 minutes, and add it to the pile of one call after another, accruing for the visiting Crimson's favor over just the last few minutes of the second half. Now the opportunity to equalize for the Crimson in this non-public B quarterfinal matchup. Simply unbelievable. Now, can they profit off the referee's controversial decision-making? This one could be for all the marbles. Heading inward, room for the shot, and she's got it. Morristown-Beard draws equal in the quarterfinals. They've been knocking away at it for quite some time, but at long last, the fruits of their labor have prevailed.
And it looks like the Cougars are going to call a timeout here.
The first timeout for either of the two sides here at Van Brunt Field, but it was the equalizer, minutes and minutes in the making. But if at first you don't succeed, try and try again, and the Crimson able to profit heavily off the referee's calls, and effortlessly enough able to convert off the penalty to make it 5-5. Everything hanging in the rubble here at Van Brunt Field. Well, it's been a game of changing tides, back and forth. The duration of this quarterfinal matchup has drawn, but now all of a sudden, in a moment as pivotal as ever before, in this quarterfinal matchup, Morristown-Beard, you may well wonder, finding themselves with all the momentum as of right now, able to draw in 2 straight goals off of 2 straight penalties. Yet again equal here at Van Brunt Field with a little under 17 minutes to go in this important playoff matchup. Who will prevail? It's full steam ahead for Morristown-Beard, but MKA, they're always up to the task. And certainly with no shortage of talent and with a wealth of lacrosse heroism.
Seems like the sideline is a bit rejuvenated too coming out of that timeout. You can hear it from here.
And so we'll see if that timeout will offer the much-needed wake-up for MKA. They did lead up 2 straight to Morristown-Beard after drawing first in the second half of action. And so now we'll see if that's enough to provide some sort of stopgap in the momentum that's otherwise certainly been going towards Mo-Beard as of right now. And again, here's Maddie Polanski. Excellent utilization of some wheels as she hands it on over to Lionheart, the UChicago commit. Yeah, again, look at this very tight defensive scheme
Again
from
with
Mo-Beard.
again with the double teams.
Quite the tactical decision you may sense. Certainly did, at least my guess would be, coach located the primary targets for any MKA offense, locate the largest weapons that they have at their disposal.
Nick, I think that it's their way to try to break up this long possession game the Cougars have been playing, because they're sending 2 or 3 players, 2 or 3 defenders at the ball carrier. And it's forcing them to make quick decisions, quick passes, and you see a lot more movement, and it's making the Cougars a bit uncomfortable.
Well, that's quite the astute observation right there, Ethan, and certainly you may sense it could be paying some dividends for them on the defense yet again. You can see the double team at least somewhat being worked right there before. And you do see the Cougars, at least in some moments, forced to dart speed a little bit more than they otherwise would have liked to. And yet again, as you can see, exercising just a bit more urgency.
Yeah, in the first half we saw a lot of standing around stationary passes, as that is certainly a penalty. But we're not seeing any of that right now, a lot of movement.
Nonetheless, MKA could be offered some refuge off the rather flagrant penalty and told on Cameron Lionheart. Of course, the opportunity, the angle really asking for a lot, but does have the chance to knock it on over to a teammate. Over to Murphy, finding her younger sister. Yet again with the senior captain. Under 15 minutes left to spare in this quarterfinal matchup. It's a deadlock on the scoreline and out on the field. Need I remind you, last time these two sides met, it was quite the opposite. 15-6 victory
I believe it was
for
in the
MKA.
prep tournament as well.
In the Prep B tournament too. So yet again, these two sides meet in a pivotal matchup at Van Brunt Field. But this time around, the fate all the more important, but the outcome as of right now all the more different, as MKA just struggles to navigate through this sea of crimson. Still another say on it from Polanski. Over to Brannigan. She'll have some daylight to be afforded. Over to Murphy, trying to get some window of opportunity, but still asking for it. Trudging back outwards. Brannigan.
Seems as if the Cougars are warming up a little bit to this more up-tempo style of play they're being forced to play.
They look up to the task. They're still keeping possession. They're still looking confident on it. That sixth goal, you may well wonder, could be sense of a matter of time. MKA chipping away at this defensive scheme. Caroline Murphy into the box, then back out. Over to Maggie Murphy, but not before a flag.
Yes, we'll see what the call is here.
Sending both sides to a relative standstill back out on the field. But when all is said or done, it is Caroline Murphy with what looks to be one clear dash away from regaining leading position for MKA. Instead retreats back outward. Yet again with Maggie Murphy. Over to the older sis, looping around, closing in, room for the shots, not quite. Cameron Lionheart forced to retreat back outwards.
Another foul, but not in a shooting position.
MKA yet again reigning supreme in terms of possession, even as Mo-Beard has upped the heat on their defensive tactics, allocating in the double team, trying to force a little bit more pressure and concern on MKA. Finding themselves up to the task, but a foul in told right there on Polanski.
And this might be from a shooting position. We'll see if she just gets a straight shot off. It's going to be from head on.
A light at the end of the tunnel, potentially for MKA. Maddie Polanski with the opportunity to get 6 for MKA to re-secure leading position, heading straight through, unable to get it.
Well,
and it's a brilliant save.
Another penalty.
Well, just like that, MKA getting some of the Mo-Beard treatment that we saw earlier on in the matchup. Back-to-back penalties for the Cougars and a second chance for Maddie Polanski, the junior.
See what she tries this time.
Everything matters here. Room for the leading position. She's got it to go ahead and snip away at 6. MKA back up to the lead, and it's simply brilliant from the Cougars. Wow, what a pressure-filled goal that one, but it's the junior more than capable of delivering for her home side in this pivotal quarterfinal matchup.
And only 2 tries there, not 4.
Exactly. So, some more attacking proficiency and productivity posed by the Cougars, but with the minutes waning down up to the final quarter of action in this quarterfinal matchup, anything goes and everything matters. And Maddie Polanski, certainly with arguably one of the most clutchest goals of her career thus far, to see through yet again a winning position for MKA back into the lead. The Cougars need to defend such for 12 more minutes if they are to advance to the semifinals of this non-public B tournament. Did emerge inferior on the face-off, but collecting scraps for seconds. The Cougars, yet again, you can tell just how hungry they are to go ahead and find their second. Time and time again, they've searched for their second, found success, but then let up. 2 straight goals from Morristown-Beard to see through that equal tally. So now, once more, at that familiar position of a 1-goal lead for the Cougars. Can they do themselves the service of securing it once and for all in the closing minutes of this quarterfinal matchup? Yet again, that patient tempo in play right here. Morristown-Beard, you may sense, letting up just a little bit, perhaps needing some breathing room, but here comes Murphy with the shot just a little bit too overcooked from the senior.
Almost ended up being a straight pass to Brannigan. Just it was too fast for her to react.
Of course, the captain who accrued 100 points in her 3-year career. Just last game, the rather rare let-up from the senior. Nonetheless, back out with MKA second dibs at possession, hovering over a little more than 10 minutes left to play.
And I think that last shot is a product of the type of sticks they use. I think in the boys' game with more net, that shot's on target because there's more net, the ball's going to take an extra second to be released and it's going to be lower.
Well, as Murphy goes down, no foul called, but you certainly do make a good point, Ethan, just how different the product out on the field may be as a result of the disparity in types of sticks, types of nets.
Yeah, because that certainly alters the release point.
And so I wonder how that could spill out or translate out onto the field. Nonetheless, 2 sides that are using the same sticks, and as of right now, it is MKA finding themselves advantageous with that, but here comes Beard, embarking on that familiar counterattack with sights once more to grab the equalizer. As the minutes tick down here at Van Brun Field, the tension growing thicker, looping around, no sight just yet. The pressure building and the tension is palpable here at the upper school. Seemingly everything goes in the final moments.
It seems as even if the wind is holding its breath right now as it just calmed down.
Mother Nature, seemingly a spectator herself of this matchup between 2 very talented and capable lacrosse programs, a matter of 2 versus 7. And on the line, a semi-final matchup, but that one right there to be saved by Sadransk. Called up to her team's behalf under quite the pressure-filled circumstances, but it is the junior able to deliver. Now straight off into the other direction. Here comes Murphy, closing in. No room for the shot just yet, dancing around, unable to get it. And MKA unable to complete the counterattack, but they look rejuvenated, don't they? With renewed vigor and tenacity, they are hungry to find their goal, to find the second of the lead, as that one right there, able to find it. And Sienna Davis with quite the piece of contact to send it to the top left corner and make it once more that familiar re-extension, the 2-goal lead for MKA.
Looks like we got a timeout, Beard here.
That'll be their first timeout of the matchup, but MKA over the last few minutes absolutely reigning supreme in possession, in productivity, and in opportunities. And it is in light of that 2-goal cushion, that largest lead of the day that we've seen equaled time and time again throughout the matchup, that they will be trying to cling onto for the final 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, and that last goal is such a familiar play where you just get a quick pass into the interior of the defense. So normally we see the pass come from behind the net, not off to the side, but the same result nonetheless. And it's the first time all day we've really seen that play both used and worked.
It just made me like, you have to try it. And I was lucky I tried it the day before it met me. Like I hadn't met it yet. Then I probably would not have scored it. Yeah. I did. I would not know anything. So it was really fun though. So.
Just follow the path. And it's just on your left.
Eight and a half minutes, all that is needed for MKA to preserve, to hold on to between right now and a semi-final matchup in the non-public B state tournament.
That matchup yet to be determined. The 3-6 game is either happening as we speak or it is not yet happening.
And so could be the opportunity for a very big feat, very impressive feat for MKA. Of course, making it to the semifinal round of the quite competitive non-public B tournament. I do believe Princeton Day is the 3 seed.
I think they're playing Villa Walsh. I think that's the name of the school, is the 6th seed. I'll pull it up.
And so the victor of that game could be destined for a date.
That game is ongoing right now.
Ongoing right now. So 2 simultaneous matchups to determine whom plays whom. Who plays whom, I'm pretty sure that's actually the grammatical correct form right there, in the semifinals of the non-public B tournament. MKA placing their bid that it will be them, currently trying to cling on to a 2-goal cushion that they've seen evaporate time and time again throughout this matchup. Now, can they hold firm for 8.5 more minutes? As the wind picks up and the skies darken, the tension only grows between these two sides. But it's yet again the Cougars embarking on the attack. Can they extend their lead to the largest of the day? It's been a game of changing currents. We've said that time and time again. That's definitely perhaps the definition of this game, the theme of it. Can MKA construct a dam? Can they find that stopgap in the changing waters? And to find what could be a deadly 8th to the Crimson's lingering ambitions to reverse the outcome of this matchup. Yet again, heightening up the defensive effort and almost finding themselves successful. Now slipping away at it, MKA with a bit of a blunder on the attack and a lifeline to be afforded for Beard.
There's a big collision in the box area that could have gone on either team. It went uncalled.
And so the Crimson able to profit off such. All of a sudden, however, a blunder on the pass yet again with MKA. That could do them quite the service as we approach a little over 7 minutes remaining. Erin Curran, not much space between her and her defender, but here comes the junior. Excellent wheels, excellent mobility, and the shot almost. Well, it was almost a fantastic solo effort goal from Erin Curran, only stopped by a matter of margins. Does look to be the junior, however, afforded a second chance. Of course, the Davidson commit herself. Off to brilliant navigation through the double team, and the goal found. It's a sensational goal from Aaron Curran, and make it 8 for MKA. Make it their largest lead of the day, and make it what could be the dagger for this quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, Nick, in games like these, you need your best players to step up and be your best players, and we saw that right there.
Aaron Curran, the epitome of clutch, demonstrated right there. You saw that double team simply squirming in between them. And unbelievable agility and mobility posed by the attacker, slipping through her double team, finding enough daylight, and then clinically and as composed as can be asked for, slipping it into the back of the net to give MKA in the final minutes of the quarterfinal matchup their largest lead of the day. And it is non-stop Cougar action. That's for sure. It was at one point a 5-5 gridlock when they were forced to call the first timeout of the matchup, but since then they have been off to the races, haven't they? 3 straight for the Cougars, absolutely running riot on their Crimson foes. Now the task at hand, maintain this lead. Emerging victorious on the face-off too, courtesy of the referee's assistance. Now embarking forward. Will there be room for a fourth, you may wonder? As ever, that trademark possessive tempo. Davis. Over to Murphy. Brannigan.
Yeah, they really seem to get more comfortable in this second half with playing that more up-tempo style that they're being forced to play, so much to the fact that the Crimson have really stopped double teaming.
Able to completely break through any defensive orientation and tactic that is thrown at them. Cougars reigning absolutely supreme on both ends of the field. It's now translated to this 3-goal divergence in tallies. Can there be more as Curran goes down and able to draw in the penalty just like that?
I think that might have been a yellow card in soccer.
I would have agreed with you, honestly. If this was my sport, we might be seeing the referees divvying out of the yellow. Instead, the yellow flag flies, and now it could be room for the yellow ball to strike the back of the net for the 9th time for MKA. Straight off the penalty, here comes Curran, and that one takes quite the deflection off the goalie. A brilliant save. Still a scramble for it, but as the dust settles, it will be heading in Beard's direction. And the opportunities for the visiting side, they're wearing thin. Seemingly any chance matters. Every moment counts.
Time is not on their side. They're going to have to move a little quickly. They're not in panic territory yet, but they're getting kind of close.
We were able to see before how quickly they could fire back at an MKA dominance on the scoreline. Remember, earlier on, they scored 2 goals in a matter of 20 seconds. So they certainly have it within their capacity to open the floodgates if necessary. Not finding such right here, however. It could be another blunder, honestly, from the goalie. Still emerging with possession, Beard. The chances are running thin, but the chance is still there. Trying to head down into the attacking third. Options to her left and right. Closing in. They'll have to exercise much urgency on this front. Waning down, less than 4:30 to go. Still down 3, Beard, with quite the mountain to overcome, but they're still up for the task as of right now. Accepting the screen, trying to head inward. It's valiant defending from MKA, but the penalty is committed by Ava Moore.
So at the very least, you've seen consistency from the ref. If you get the stick up into the shoulder area, they can call it every time.
It's a tight game, but that can only perhaps prove for frustration from both ends. Of course, that's how I feel it is in soccer. If the ref is to call a tight game, you are to ire some complaints from both ends, both teams, and their respective turnouts. Out now all of a sudden, less than 4 minutes to go. Still 3 goals separating these two sides. The opportunity at hand for Beard to try to reduce something before the flag flies in the process. Well, every single shot matters for Beard. Quite the improbable task.
And the clock has stopped.
Overcoming 3 goals in 3 minutes. They need this one. Closing in, spinning away, trying to fire the shot. And able to find the back of the net. It didn't look like such from my vantage point, but seemingly with her back turned to the goal, it was one of the cheekiest of shots right there to evade the grasp of Orly Sadransk. And never say never, Mo-Beard Crimson, they are still in this matchup. They are still finding themselves into the conversation. Over 3 minutes to go, and they have 2 goals left.
Yeah, still plenty of time, and I have to imagine they're going to see the double team strategy come out, because they need possession.
Come on, boy!
Will they be up to the task? Morristown-Beard, you may sense that the momentum is with them, but MKA, they've been so dominant on the attack, on the defense throughout this entire matchup with as much talent as needed. Can they hold firm for 3 more minutes in this quarterfinal matchup of the state tournament with the face-off? Absolutely, but flying away with it, it's yet again with the Crimson. Charging away. Only minutes to spare for Mo-Beard. They're able to find one. Can they get 2 more? Quite the...
You gotta be careful. That's about where they call the penalties. Offside.
And so an interesting stoppage in play here by the referees.
The entire field went quiet that we could hear what the ref was saying.
Truly bizarre circumstances in the dying minutes of this quarterfinal matchup. As the tension only builds, that one right there, a bit of a release from the mounting pressure between these two sides. MKA, exactly 3 more minutes. All that is left to defend to see them through to the semifinals. Meanwhile, all that there is to provide for Mo-Beard in order to traverse the deficit.
Flag goes up, and who's it on? Both players went down. It's gonna be on Cougars, I believe.
And I don't believe it. Mo-Beard with another opportunity courtesy of the penalty. They can make this a 1-goal game right here in the final minutes of the quarterfinals. They desperately need this one. Heading inward, unable to find it. And it's brilliantly saved from Orly Sadransk.
Maybe the save of the season for the Cougars.
Oh, I can't believe it. But they're able to intercept it. Back and forth lacrosse action, but MKA, they emerge along with it.
Yeah, Nick, just pure chaos happening right now.
Absolute limbs and scenes at Van Brunt Field. But when all is said or done, when the dust finally settles, it's MKA on it.
Nick, there's the double team again.
Now heading inward, room for that shot! They've got it! Maggie Murphy to the back of the net. And it could just be game, set, match in this quarterfinal matchup. What a way to capitalize off an unbelievable counterattack for the Cougars. You had the penalty on the other end that could have made it a 1-goal game at the 2-minute warning. But all of a sudden, sprinting off to the races on the other end of the field and into the back of the net, the freshman delivering absolute wonders for her side, and that could be the dagger of the matchup.
Yeah, Nick, that's the danger of the double team. You leave someone open right in the middle, and they find the open player that time.
And it's simply amazing for them to exploit such a defensive scheme. And now it is one last chance for Mo-Beard. Yet again, reset back to that 3-goal deficit. This time, however, only 2 minutes left in this quarterfinal matchup.
Our viewers have gone from 6 to 16 to 18 to 22.
What's it?
The viewers. It was at 6. It was at 6 in the first half, and it's at 22 now. I'm muted.
Wait, are you freezing?
Well, the wind stopped, so. Well, I was earlier. It's because, like, I had to go run out to get something from the supermarket from my mom, like right before I was gonna leave. She was like, we don't have this, can you go get it? And like, so I went out and I was like, okay, I'll just go quickly come back home, but like they didn't have it. And at the time, and then it was already like 2:30 or 2:40, and I was like, all right, I just gotta go.
MKTV comes first.
Yeah.
MKTV then. Two minutes and 2 seconds. All that is left for MKA to defend. That and 3 goals that are currently separating the two sides as of right now. MKA working brilliantly to withstand the pressure, withstand the momentum accruing towards Beard, and to, while they're at it, tile on the third. It's their largest lead of the game, just about when it matters most. Up to the 2-minute warning we go. MKA yet again off to the races.
Here's the double team again.
And performing convincing as ever. The Cougars, meanwhile,
There's that consistent foul call. Stick got up into the shoulder area, cross-check motions getting called every single time, and it got called again there.
and it is quite the tight game being called by the referees over the course of this quarterfinal. But perhaps by virtue of the much physicality displayed between the two sides, as you saw right there, wow, I just have it, perhaps evidencing my words right there. Well, I don't have the most experienced eye when it comes to lacrosse, but that one right there, I just completely marked my words. It's, I mean, easily enough after that one. 1 minute. 30 seconds left, 89 to be precise. All that is left for MKA to hold firm to. Opportunities running scarce as ever for Beard. You may sense it's now or never for the Crimson, but MKA yet again looking ever so dominant on the attack. Still trying to navigate through the sea of Crimson. Trying to hack away at it. Still anybody's ball right in front of the goal. Absolute scramble for it, but it is Aaron Curran very clutchly emerging free with possession over to Polanski, the junior.
Cougars might just play keep away here.
It makes sense. They're looking as convincing as ever before. A little over a minute left to go. And this could very well do it right here. Such a back and forth matchup this has certainly been in the playoffs. Two very talented programs. And in spite of the back and forth turrets, MKA at long last able to add some break to the water, able to construct something amazing to preserve their 3-goal lead, and along with it, the remaining 40 seconds of matchup here at Van Brunt Field. It was a lead, it was a destination, at times questioned, but MKA finding themselves up to the task of sending themselves off to the semifinals, where they will play, I believe, either Princeton Day or the Villa Walsh School. A matter of 3 versus 6 seed over there. Meanwhile, 2nd seed Cougars holding firm against the 7th seed Crimson of Morristown-Beard as the seconds expire. One last call for the books. However, that will in fact do it at Van Brunt Field, and MKA will be off to the semifinals of the Girls Lacrosse Non-Public B State Tournament. An emphatic display at sometimes questioned by entertaining lacrosse, but MKA holds firm, and your Cougars are heading off to the semis. And so, of course, before you leave, I do believe this will be that was my final game commentating with MKTV. So from the bottom of my heart, really, thank you so much for tuning in to my commentary, to my camera work, to, of course, Ethan and everybody else's work here with MKTV. I don't believe I can be here for the semifinals or the finals, and so this marking my last game commentating for MKTV, then thank you so much for helping me to find my voice, helping me to discover this passion I've come to truly love called sports commentary. The past 4 years, they've been terrific. They've meant everything to me. I've got to go to amazing places and meet amazing people, do amazing things, all in the process, and I really owe that all to you, the viewer, the entire MK community as a whole. This wouldn't be possible without you guys. I really can't believe that it's come to this stage, if I'm being honest. that I would ever see this day where I'd be putting in one final game for MKA TV, but truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. You've helped me discover my voice, and God bless you all. Thank you so much. And so, for one final time, here from Van Brunfield, this is Nicholas Baum signing off.
Tuesday, here.